Afrobeats.
To the world, bro. to the atmosphere.
Yeah, so on Afrobeats again.
Wow, it's always about Afrobeats.
Billboard is having an Afrobeats chart.
Yeah.
Please run us through how this is going to work.
So there's a system in place already. Billboard has a technology. They work with Nielsen SoundScan. They track so it's an aggregation of all the avenues that music is consumed through in America, right? So it's music streaming now. It's radio, which is Nielsen SoundScan, and it's direct sales, regular sales, so physical sales, physical copies. But when it comes to physical sales, it's not going to be the amount that retailers or consumers are buying. It's the amount that wholesalers are buying from the labels. So that's how it's calculated. But right now, before, in the past, music streaming, when it came to the music streaming part, it wasn't all the music streaming platforms that were getting calculated, that were part of the aggregation. Not all the music streaming platforms had their numbers in conversation for aggregation for the Billboard charts. Over the past 2 years, Audiomack has now joined the music streaming platforms. Boomplay joined them last year as well. So now you are talking about Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube Music, YouTube Main, all these other platforms. So a lot of people are also clamoring for TikTok to now be part of the conversation. I think that's a little bit more complicated, but that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen soon, but you never know. So Billboard has over 100 charts, per genre. You're talking all charts, even K-pop has a chart, which came up in 2011. So it's an accumulation of all these things. The Billboard Afrobeats chart, let's not make a mistake. It's not going to be the top Afrobeat songs in the world. It's going to be the top 50 Afrobeat songs on the American soil, right? So that's the top 50 African records in America across streaming, airplay, and physical sales in America. Not necessarily purchased by Americans, not necessarily used in America. Sometimes some Americans might be streaming music maybe from some places that are around America because internet and where they are licensed, where they are registered to, and so on with other things. So people that are registered, maybe people that have their cars registered to American banks, streaming platforms that operate in America, airplay, American radio, American rhythmic charts, all these other things. So it's not going to be top Afrobeats records, including Nigeria. So let's get that clear, because sometimes people are stupid, or they try to be stupid. You're saying, oh, because this song is one of the biggest, it's a big song in America, it's big in Nigeria. No, we're going to get to that a little later then.
So are there upsides to this? Is this a good idea?
Yeah, it is. It can be. It can be a good idea. I like it, but it has a lot of positives and it has some negatives. It's a big nod to the journey of Afrobeats in the West. It's a big nod to the growing impact of Afrobeats in the West. It's a big nod to where Afrobeats could go from here. Last year, I've said it 2 times on the show already. ABC said Afrobeats was a new pop, right? It's on YouTube, you can see it there. U.S. did a documentary about Afrobeats last year as well. Earlier in the year, you could see, just some weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, Joe Budden did a fantastic interview with Nicki Minaj, where both of them agreed that Essence was the song of the year. And when Essence was blowing up, we did a Facts Only episode where we sort of broke down what it means for Essence to be a top 10 or a top 20 record in America. Because look at America critically. America is 15%, about 15% of America is African Americans. About 18 to 20% is Hispanic people. Asians are a little bit of that. So you are looking at a country where white people are maybe 50 or 60% of the country. That's a lot of numbers, right? So it means that for a record like that to get to the top or the upper echelon of the Billboard charts, it means that in some ways it has penetrated the depth of America. People are listening to it. So it's not just, when it was on the world music charts, maybe you can say, oh, it was predominantly black communities that were listening to it. But when you look at some events in December, where a lot of white people are singing, in the morning, so it shows you the impact of the music. But more importantly, it also shows us that Afrobeats is starting to be profitable. There is a profitability angle to it. Look, American music capitalism operates on the tenet of profitability. Capitalism is about making money. Like, if something is not making money, there's no reason to endorse it on that level, right? So that means the fact, for example, you look at the K-pop charts in 2011, right? There was Billboard Korea before then, but in 2011, just before the Gangnam Style craze, you could see that K-pop got its own charts, the K-pop charts, right? So it means that just a little bit after that, Gangnam Style did a monstrous thing. Now with Afrobeats, it's like the other way around because Love Fantasy came first, right? Now it's Afrobeats charts, but it shows you that there's a belief now that Afrobeats can make money and generate healthy amounts of money. It's still not a primary genre, right? K-pop is a primary genre, Latin pop is a primary genre, but the dream is to make Afrobeats a primary genre. It's still a secondary genre, but it's going to get there.
I guess some stars align with us making this happen.
It's happening because, so look at them, Joe Budden, for example. I talked about them previously. They said it was a song of the year. Now you could look at them and say, well, African Americans like to push the black excellence argument. They like to push, oh, it's our thing, let's put all the agenda behind it. But that means because they are under 20% of America, it means that you can say that maybe they're lying. Maybe Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license or Leave the Door Open were bigger records, right? Because consumption and all that. But when you also look at it, they might not be lying. Because they might be looking at the organic way through which the record spread like wildfire. I was reading a review this morning, right? I was reading IFPI. IFPI released a study this morning. I was reading just for short this. Like music industry revenues globally grew to about 25 billion this year, right? And there was a 21% increase in the streaming revenue this year. It grew to about 12.something billion, right? Bro, it means that the internet is becoming, so music streaming is the entire reason why the music industry is back, right? So between 1999 and 2006, see this, like, the music industry enjoyed a boom. No, in 1999, the music industry enjoyed a boom. Like, it was a lot of money because direct sales, CD sales were at an all-time high. But between 1999 and 2006, everything just nosedived a little bit. It got worse between 2006 and 2012. So the music streaming entire ecosystem is why it accounts for a huge part of like global music revenues. So if you're looking at the 21 billion, I think about last year, about 40, 50% or maybe 60% was part of, in 2020, streaming accounted for like 40, 50 or 60% of like the global music industry revenues. So it means that right now, because like Spotify's interest, people are saying is divested. Like Spotify's market share is getting diluted by other music streaming platforms. For example, YouTube Music is the fastest growing music streaming platform in the world. But guess what? Spotify's user base is growing. It's increasing. Like last year, we had about 530 million paid music subscribers across the world. Now we're not even talking about people that use ad-based platforms like maybe YouTube or maybe Spotify Freemium and all these other platforms, right? So the way the world is right now, there's also the part of social media. So it's the internet, social media streaming platforms. TikTok alone is a huge discovery platform. Social media has become the most potent marketing tool in music period right now. Because you look at Finesse. Finesse was released 2 days later. It was the number one most selling song in the world. Do you know why? Because aside from the fact that Buju's inclusion on the record did a fantastic rollout for it, because the way Buju does, and if a record is coming out, he would have teased it on the social, and everybody just recorded that, and it went just nuclear. It went batshit crazy, right? But it shows you that someone somewhere in the world is probably listening to an Afrobeats record that is not even popular in Nigeria. That's why I said it here last year. That's why Chike's Running was blowing up in Fiji last year, right? So the fact that the world has become such a global village, like everything is so unified, like there's now some sort of, it's still not fair, make no mistake, but you have as much of a chance to be discovered by someone somewhere as anybody else in the world. I mean, there is maybe not as much chance, but you have a better chance to be discovered by someone else. It's not like when CDs were getting pushed. If you were not popular, your CD is probably not going to come here. If you're not popular in some parts of like America and UK, your CD is not going to get to us in Nigeria. So look at it, the fact that it just means that the fact that this is happening and the fact it's contributing to the growth of Afrobeats. Because now people can make money in every way. People can generate revenue. Do you know the amount of money that Love One Season made last year? Bruh. That's just what it is, because the world is becoming a global village. Afrobeat is also making money, or it looks like it's making money. It's a secondary genre now. It's still not tip top. It's a secondary genre now, and there's hope that it's going to become a primary genre.
So you think it should be exciting?
No. I think the excitement should be tailored. I think the excitement should be tempered properly. One. What did the UK Afrobeats Chart do for us? It did nothing for us. Like, there was a UK Afrobeats Chart last year. I'm shout out to Afro Nation that they were in charge of. They're in charge of this one. I'm shout out to Afro Nation. But look, it's not going to. It's not exactly going to. It's going to do a lot for the optics. It's going to do a lot for the agenda. It's going to do a lot for promotion. It's going to do. It's also going to help us track like records that are genuinely making money in that part of the world. But when you look at it critically, bro, we have bigger fish to fry than Afrobeats charts that are not us. For example, where's our own charts here? I mean, we have a chart now, basically, it's a chart, it's growing. But where's the support for that chart? Where is the agenda to let's elevate it and make it something? Instead, everybody is going to be celebrating the Billboard Afrobeats chart. Like, America has a history of using and moving on from genres. It's across history. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Afrobeats, but there's more chance of that happening to Afrobeats than not. Like, 10 years ago, Eastern European EDM was blowing up. Like, you are listening to records like "Best Night I'm Loving You" or Jennifer Lopez, right? Or you even had people like Ina and Vike Jigurina from Romania having hits on the Billboard charts, right? They created a whole movement. But right now, 3 years later, there was Gangnam Style and the world moved, America moved back to K-pop. 4 years later, it was Latin pop, Despacito. America moved, like everybody just moved to Despacito immediately. So, bro, there's a history of that. Now, because in the past, it would have been easier to move on. I'm not saying if they move on now, it would mean it's all doom and gloom for Afrobeats. No. There will still be, because there's an established bridge now. There's an established bridge. It means that budget for the biggest Afrobeats artists at any point in time over the next 20 to 30 to 40 years is going to be healthy, right? Because right now, you're looking at people like Bad Bunny, J Balvin. Those guys, the budget behind them, have you seen the money that J Balvin and Bad Bunny made last year? Or Ozuna, the money is wild because there's a budget behind them, there's marketing behind them, there's a proven track record that they can make money. So labels are going to put money behind them to make the money back. So that's going to mean that Afrobeats is going to get to that level where, regardless of the push on the American soil, African artists can still make money in America and other parts. It's just going to mean that it might not be the most desirable genre maybe in 5 to 10 years. But for that part, because of right now, right? Because it's possibly the most desirable genre in American music right now. Possibly the fastest, no, definitely the fastest rising. It means that a lot of people, like a lot of African artists, are dreaming to get to that level because anything can happen for you right now. The door is so open. The interest of America in Afrobeats is so open. That's even trickling down here because all the companies are coming here. They want to put money in the African continent. They are buying catalog. They are doing a lot of things. So it shows you that the interest is here. Now, if the interest wanes a little bit and we can't prove that all the money that is coming into the industry, that we can make it back, things might wane a little bit. And that's where it's going to matter for us if we have an industry. We need to build ours, right? So that if America moves and the interest and the interest and the number of we are still going to be exporting talent to the place. But if the interest wins and the amount of money and the amount of passion and the amount of connection and the road, the inroads to becoming a success in America is abridged a little bit, then we are going to need to rely on our own industry, and that's where we need to be looking at right now. Not being excited about UK Afrobeats charts and US Afrobeats charts. It doesn't do anything for us. It's not like it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do much in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't do much beyond the optics and beyond proving that some people are making money. Those things are good things, but in the grand scheme of things, not exactly. Huge things.
It seems like some people are excited. Do they know something that we don't?
Some people are going to be excited, obviously, because if you're a music exec, for example, it's going to make sense for you. Do you know why? Because as beautiful as Afrobeats is, Nigerian artists are not making 70% of their revenue. Burna Boy is not making 80% of his revenue. 80%, forget 80%, 90% of Burna Boy's streaming revenue is not from Nigeria. 90% of Whiskey's streaming revenue is not from Nigeria. 80 to 90% of Davido's streaming revenue is not from Nigeria. Do you know why? How many paid subscribers do you think you have in Nigeria? Under 1 million. How much money do you think they're making from you? And then you're not looking at tariff. Subscription in America is $499, $799. That's about 1,000 something. In Nigeria, it's 900 naira. So you're looking at all those things, right? Burna Boy is selling out shows he sold out twice in Paris. He did one in Ireland some days ago. Do you know the amount of money it must have made from that? Now look at his shows in Nigeria. Even if you are paying him 25 million, which is huge money in Nigeria. But my brother, compared to what he can make in 3 nights in Europe or America, it's still nothing. It's nothing. So if you're an exec, for example, an Afrobeats chart makes sense. Do you know why? Because number one, it ticks the boxes of agenda. Number two, the optics are fantastic. Number three, it means you can track your money. You can also celebrate some successes, right? But the problem with this is, the Afrobeats chart is going to become something like the Apple Music chart, Apple Music Top 100. Like the Apple Music Top 100 shouldn't be presented as the #1 chart in Nigeria, right? But it is the most desirable music chart in Nigeria now because of a few reasons, 4 reasons. One, the desirability of Apple as a brand itself. Like Apple, the brand, Apple is so elevated. Everybody wants to use Apple. And the desirability has then bounced off to the Apple Music app itself. Like anybody wants to use Apple Music and Spotify, then everybody else, right? Then you are now looking at number 2. When the Apple Music Top 100 launched in Nigeria, we didn't have a veritable music chart. So it means everybody deferred to it a little bit. Then number 3, you are looking at the time during which the importance of the chart blew up, and that was during the lockdown. Artists were not touring. They were not touring. So that means where they were making their money was primarily streaming. So they had to celebrate it to make you go to stream the records more. So they will celebrate it and then make you go stream it. Then another person, maybe if a Davido or Mayoku does, I'm #1 on Apple Music today, someone else who's a smaller artist will want to go and do it as well. Because you have created a fear of missing out. You have endorsed it. So the endorsement just sort of became a thing. Then everybody started celebrating the Apple Music charts. Now, creating the fear of missing out now, it has now become vanity. So everybody wants to use it. It's the same thing that's going to come to. Then another reason why it's also like that is because you are making money. Like when you look at the Apple Music charts, it's one of the highest paying music DSPs for Nigerian artists. So the fact that you are #1 means that you have generated, for that day, maybe you have made about 25,000 streams or less. So bro, it means that you can make some money. You can make some money because if you get to 1 million streams, there's something there for you. So it's a marketing strategy as well. The same thing is going to happen to the Afrobeats Top 50. #1, it's the Billboard charts by America. You know how Nigerians have been celebrating all the Billboard Chart placements? World Music Chart, Rhythmic Radio, something, they must celebrate it. Because why? It's an American thing. Number 2, the optics are fantastic. And it suits the agenda. Number 3, like that one as well. We don't exactly, the turntable chart is growing, but it's not exactly there yet. So that means a lot of people would be deferring to that chart as well, to be like the landmark for success, or the point of success, or like an evidence of huge success. Because if you top that chart, that means your song is big to a level on the American soil. And number 4, it's an evidence of money, especially for music companies. So brother, expect them to plaster it in your face. Like there are parallels between, like there are going to be parallels between this US Afrobeats chart or Billboard Afrobeats chart and the Apple Music Top 100. The UK Afrobeats chart is not exactly yet to that level, because as much as the UK was the most important stopping point for Afrobeats in this journey, it's not exactly the most vibrant ground to make money. And it's not as desirable as America. So that's the misfortune for the UK charts. And then the UK Afrobeats charts was not exactly managed properly. Like, let's hope this one gets better, but those are the problems. So you can't expect people not to endorse the charts.
Do you think it should be called the Afrobeats Chart?
No. Shout out to Eze of the head of Empire African Diaspora Markets. He posted something on his IG yesterday that, thank you Billboard, something like that, but it should be called the African Chart, not the Afrobeats Chart. And I totally agree. You know why? It's a disservice to African music to pigeonhole everything we do into the Afrobeats conversation. It's happening with American music. It's happening in Latin pop. It happens to dancehall. It's happened to K-pop. Songs that are rap records are getting pigeonholed into the K-pop conversations. Latin records that are rap records are getting pigeonholed into the Latin pop conversations. Dancehall records that are not exactly dancehall, that are predominantly pop records, are getting onto the dancehall charts. So, like, we are going to see a lot of drill records, a lot of rap records get pigeonholed into the Afrobeats conversation. And what is this Afrobeats exactly? It's just contemporary African pop music. It's dance music and pop music at the end of the day. A rap record is not Afrobeats. As much as Cause Trouble and songs that sound like that can't be pigeonholed into, like, they can be dance tracks, but those records are songs that sound like that are rap records. And I kid you not, they are going to put, if a record like that blows up again, they are going to put it on the Afrobeats charts, and that's going to be a disservice. We don't need that. We need proper dichotomy and understanding of, like, America has a problem with understanding music from smaller demographics. For a long time, do you know the type of records that they were nominated in the Grammy category for best rap album? Records that are R&B records are getting put into the best rap category, best rap song. Bro, this is an R&B record. It's gotten better over the past 3 years, obviously. Maybe because there's more inclusion from black communities. But going forward, we can't have that in Afrobeats. It can't happen. Like, everybody, like, this same person goes, says, Africa is more than Afrobeats. And Africa is more than Afrobeats. It's more than Afrobeats. And this Afrobeats something, we'll get to a level maybe where it's good branding for us. Because if something is going to blow up in those parts of the world, it needs to be branded properly. You need to have an identity behind it to push it. But going forward, we are going to need to have a conversation about it. It should be the African music charts, if you are going to be fair, not the Afrobeats charts. And I think Afro Nation needs to work on that. Afro Nation needs to be better with that. It can't be just Afrobeats.
You already mentioned how this is probably a potential big flex for some artists.
Yeah.
But how do you think the success of African music will be perceived?
That's a very good question. The success of African music is going to be perceived in a very... So there's going to be a dichotomy in how we perceive, like, success, hit records. For example, there was a conversation last year, CK's Love Anthem, when it didn't make a lot of end of the year lists, like Apple Music top most streamed songs in Nigeria and Apple Music, it wasn't there. Most streamed songs in Nigeria is Spotify, it wasn't there. Do you know why? You know why? Because the song blew up in Nigeria already. And Nigerians had moved on before the world started discovering it. It wasn't our fault. We can't go back to what had already trended. It's like expecting if it blows up now. I mean, it might because of nostalgia. If you, it might make up because that one is even far off. But let's look at a record like if it blows up right now and maybe gets 3 times platinum certification. Like it's probably not going to be big in Nigeria again, except like there is a lot of push behind it in terms of like radio, and you can maybe put a remix on it and change the beat a bit, some differences. But the Love Oasis that was blowing up was the same one, except maybe the acoustic one and the one that was blowing up on TikTok. But that was not even the one that charted. So you can't really blame us for not listening to it again. We had moved on. Now, going forward, we are going to see a lot of things because the world is becoming such a global village right now, and Nigerian music is traveling at a high level. So it's going to mean that, one, there will be 2 conversations. Top Nigerian songs is not going to be the top Nigerian songs in Nigeria. Those will be 2 different conversations. Like 2 different conversations that we need to have at some point. So that means even like awards would need to like refine their criteria properly. Do you hear what I mean? So top Afrobeats songs, top Nigerian songs, they might overlap sometimes. Maybe for example like Peru. Peru was one of the biggest songs in Nigeria last year, and then it traveled out and then became big. But you are looking at a record like Emery's Sad Girls Love Money. It wasn't one of the biggest songs in Ghana last year. It was one of them, but it wasn't top 10. When you look at like the local consumption of like music and that songs that people are listening to that they can see. So those conversations going forward, we will need to understand like the dichotomy and the differences in those conversations. So that means like a song might be blowing up on the Afrobeats charts, and we might not be listening to it here. And people will need to accept that for a fact and not be stupid about it. You need to understand the differences. That's it.
Do you think we are going to get an Afrobeats category in the Grammys?
Oh, I'm not 1,000%. It's getting there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But like, it's going to be like, it should be the African music category, not the Afrobeats category. That's what I'm saying.